Hello, and welcome to the Next Level Loan Officers Podcast, the #1 podcast for loan officers by loan officers.
With real originators in the trenches, just like you every single day.
If they can go there, how come I can't go there? Well, you can.
Like if you don't water your plants, you don't have future crops. You can't feed your family. You can't make a living. This is watering your crops.
You have to find your community and you have to dig in.
If it wasn't for you guys, I can tell you, probably my trajectory would have been a completely different one.
We'll see you on the next Level Loan Officers Podcast.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to Next Level Podcast. We are actually doing something different today. We are pushing this thing live across all platforms to all people because we want to tell you guys about some of the cool stuff that we're doing. And so before we intro everybody, a lot of these channels are pushing to my people, and you may or may not have heard that a few weeks back, gosh, maybe even a couple months back now, time flies when you're having fun, right, guys? My company and Landon's company, Academy 18, was acquired by these guys, and we are now Next Level Community, serving the mortgage space, the real estate space, and so we want to talk through what all we're doing, why we're excited about it, the value that we believe it's bringing to you. Because Shane, you said something in the meeting we were having before this call where you said that this is the year of the professional.
Yeah. I stole this from somebody else. So I got to make sure, because now that we're on our Facebook page is going live, that person's going to watch us and be like, wait a minute, right. Shane.
Accountability.
Right? And I love that. And I said I was going to steal it, but in upward trending markets, in hot markets, amateurs can win, right? And the definition of winning in an easy market is everyone's making good money. But the reality is that as soon as things get tough, only the professionals win. And so I think that what's so fun about that is if you love being a professional, the art of learning, the art of embracing change, the art of, constant self-criticism in a healthy way. Yeah. If you're willing to do that and you're a true professional, this is the most exciting year in my 13. Right. And I said this the other day, but I made like $8,000 last year in the mortgage industry, which is what you make on one loan. I made that in the year, but I felt more blessed. I learned more. I felt better prepared for this year than I ever have before. And so, yeah, 2024 is the year of the professional, man.
I love it. And so this exists because we believe that nobody wants to do this on an island. Nobody wants to do this by themselves. And sadly, a lot of the companies that exist just want you to produce. They're not trying to coddle you and nurture you and love on you. And so we wanted to provide a place where you can find community, but also be challenged and encouraged constantly to go be better, because this industry needs us at our best if 24 is going to be a good year.
Yeah, and a lot of the companies, unfortunately, their marketing people are people who have never done loans. So the way that they relate and understand what's moving, the things that are pitched to them are outdated, or maybe were dated the day they got off the bus. And one of the things that we've always prided ourselves on in Next Level, and that you get when you plug into a community, is you get to see somebody in DFW, you get to see somebody in Seattle, in St. Louis, in New York, that are all having success in the ways that they are marketing, the ways that they're getting business right now, today. And then you get to just copy and paste those exact things, because that's the beautiful thing. Everybody tries to make our industries so challenging. And I mean, the markets make it challenging, but what we do on a day-to-day basis, it's not that hard to do loans. It's not that hard to help people buy houses. Maybe hard to find the house. It might have a particular person that's challenging, but what we do is not rocket science.
Well, I think that's such a unique perspective, and really this space that we have here that we've created, and what we're inviting people into is even that touch of accountability. With my company, we've had a class every week for the last 7 weeks. We have one more week to go, and they told me, like, I mean, right. If we can get a hold of the internet, we can do our job anywhere, right? We all could. And herself included. And she said, man, it's so nice to have something to do every Tuesday. Not that she's not busy. She has half dozen listings and a million clients and all the things, but she's like, it's nice to have that rhythm, that cadence. And then she said, and that accountability, right? Because if we're going to show up, if we're going to be unique for our people, I think having that accountability is really, really important. And I hear so often people saying like, well, I'm going to get started with my marketing soon. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm a little bit different. And I'm like, well, why don't you focus on being a whole lot consistent? And everything else will take care of itself. Everything else will fall into place. And that's what I'm finding with people is there's that pause to get started because they think that what has worked for decades and generations in the mortgage and real estate space can't be done again or shouldn't be done again. And so it's like inviting people into that space. No, you're not going to get a slap on the wrist. Yes, you can miss classes. No, you don't have to show up to every single thing that we do, but it's the invitation into that space of like, we love you. We care for you and we want to lean into you and you into us to help you elevate your career.
So let's talk about our cadence, right? Because I love what you just said, Landon. Hey, instead of being a little bit different, why don't you be a lot of bit consistent? And that's the key to every successful business. And so we have a very intentional cadence through Next Level, something basically every day of the week. Again, not because you need to be at all of it, but because we want you to have access to whatever you need. And so it all starts with Monday. Shane, what do we do on Mondays?
Yeah, so we just feel it's so important to be also in a cadence. And I've never respected people who were the do as I say, not as I do approach. So we live that mantra ourselves. Mondays is our Next Level podcast. And what we do inside our community is we actually stream that live. And at the end of every podcast, we open it up for live Q&A. And the reality is that what you guys said is so true, but I want to just emphasize a point. You never know what day or what topic is going to be the day and is going to be the topic that takes your business to the next level. Yeah. You never know when when you say, I'm just going to go take a break and grab a cup of coffee, and you bump into your future spouse, your future business partner, an amazing investment opportunity. That's why it's so important that you have opportunities to pull a lever every day of the week for future growth and opportunity. And so Monday is kind of the start of the week. These are at 1 o'clock Central, 11 a.m. Pacific, and 2 o'clock Eastern for my boys and my gals on the East Coast. Now, we roll right into Tuesday, and this is something that we just launched 3 weeks ago, Kyle, that I love, and I'm obviously partial to. It's the Marketing Church.
That's right.
With Kyle and Shane, with Shane and Kyle, mostly Kyle and Shane, because you were the pastor, and that's where we kind of got some of this from.
Yeah.
But I love this because it's just digging in for 5 minutes, 10 minutes at most.
Yep.
A specific topic based on marketing, right? And we get tactical. We don't talk. And one thing I did want to add for everybody, we're not just going to talk at you about things that we hope you do from a high level without actually getting granular. We're going to show you what's the best microphone to use when you're recording video. What's the best platform for streaming? How to create effective graphics that pop, how to leverage a post on social media. Again, tactical. You're going to walk away from every day with something you can add to your business it's either going to be free or low cost, because it's all things we're using, right? In our real estate companies, in our mortgage companies, in our marketing companies, hell, in a roofing company, right?
Oh, yeah.
And they're going to be tactics and things that there's no excuse not to implement and leverage right now. And that will happen on Tuesday during the Marketing Church. We roll right into Wednesday. Sean, you want to talk a little bit about Next Level Live?
Next Level Live is something that we like. This is like the meat of the week. This is where you're going to get 30-ish minutes. One of the coaches, we have a lot of fantastic contributors, a lot of outside guests. And for the rest of the year, every single month is themed. So there will be an overall theme of the month broken down in 4 parts. And again, you're going to hear from one of our contributors, something that they are doing. You'll hear from us on specific tactics on what they're doing. We also have outside influencers, people, for instance, March is going to be all about AI. So if you're thinking about joining Next Level and you need to up your AI game, March would be a fantastic month to do it. And the outside contributors, the people inside of Next Level who are dominating and winning in the AI space. So that is just something that you can get and set on clockwork every single week to be there, or just watch the replay if you're not.
Landon, why don't you roll right into what we do on Thursdays, a new show that we just launched with you and Sean.
Yeah, absolutely. Sean and I have and host a show on Thursday called Real Estate Perspective, REP show. As most everyone knows, Next Level has been mortgage and lender specific. And since Kyle and I have come on, we've shifted that more so into the community, into the entrepreneurial space in general of sales and building businesses and what works there. But my background specifically for the last decade has been real estate agent turned broker owner. And we have a lot of agents here at the office. And so Sean and I are just going back and forth with perspectives that could help you as a lender be in front of more agents, could help the realtor in this space find a lender,
Yep.
And so we're sitting there going back and forth on these tactics that we see work, best practices. And again, like Shane said, for Marketing Church, this is not high level and we end the call and it's like, well, they'll find success if they take action. Like it is, this is what you would say. This is when you would do it. This is why you would do it. This is what you're looking to accomplish. All of those things are addressed in all of our calls. And then Kyle, Friday, first and third Fridays. What do we do on Friday?
This is my favorite part of the month is our happy hours on first and third Fridays. And the theme for any of my Dallas Fort Worth sports fans, you may have heard this on 105.3 The Fan, but they do what you drinking, what you thinking. And they just let people call in and they say, man, what are you drinking today? And they tell them what they're drinking. And then they get to say whatever they want. It could be a question. It could be a thought. And we just did one a couple weeks ago. And it was just really cool. The organic conversation that took place that we would have probably never taught a session about, but it came up in conversation. And so the conversation went like the Airbnb, vacation rentals and some of the unique, ways to make that work and be profitable. And so it's just a great way to end the week 2 times a month. And it also just fosters community because we want to see each other. We want to be able to interact. Like there's a reason why we always have our meetings through video because we don't live in the same place. And so we don't want to lose those connections by just sitting on the phone all day. And so Friday is just such an unbelievable time to come and have a need met if you're struggling with something, or to just celebrate and go, guys, let me tell you what just absolutely crushed it. And it helps other people in the community do the same.
I love that. Well, listen, we have a question that Landon's going to introduce that I thought was awesome that we want to just kind of dig in on. But first, let me just give you an upcoming preview of some of the topics that you can expect to get, because we've actually already designed and planned out your next 12 months. And that's really important, that you're not just aligning with people who are reacting to whatever the flavor of the day is. Listen, we are going to always be talking what's going on and relevant because we're all in the trenches working, doing the same things that you are. But having a plan for your year, like you don't just build a 5-story house with a parking garage overnight and have that look straight. So we want to talk about foundations of what we have coming up for you guys. First, Sean already broke the news. March is all about AI. And we're going to get into the prompts, the personas, the technologies, the ways to leverage that to make money, to have impact on your business. We're bringing in outside experts. Again, like a lot of people will have a mortgage person who dabbles in something that becomes the expert for a topic. And that just doesn't work for us because we seek out wise counsel in our business and we want you to do the same. So we've got high-level experts on AI. We roll right into April and it's all about content creation. It's about social media and your vision and what you're going to be doing. It's about content creation and the graphics and the things to use, the tools, the websites, the technologies. And then we're going to get into some really cool stuff with some high-level experts who have built companies based on social media. I love May, and I love this topic. It's your network is your net worth. And we're going to get into niche marketing for veteran specific, new construction. We're going to get into agent strategies with real estate agents and mindset gurus, people who know how to get into the mind of an agent. And then we're going to get into how to host events impactfully. And I kind of gave it away for that month, but you need to understand that like we have every day designed for you already.
So,
and I'm super excited about that. Then we'll get into a sales reset in June. We're going to go into basically understanding the niches around generating leads through marketing, right? And then we're going to get into mindset and wellness. And a lot of people kind of roll their eyes at this stuff, guys, right? The mindset, the wellness. But I can tell you, having successfully built unsuccessful companies. And I say that because it's the jack of all trades, master of none. Having done that, and having made those things successful, it was through sheer willpower. But man, my body and my health, my family, my faith, my spirituality took such a massive toll. And knowing what I know now, if I had had the right tools, if I was equipped with the right cadence, the right mindset, the right people, life would have been so different on my way up. And I think that's super important. Then we're going to get into some tech and really around a sales focus, understanding and breaking down like the top ways to leverage technology, not just what to use, but how to use it effectively. We're going to get into a growth month, and I'm really excited about this. This is bringing in some of the people that we have hired and paid for and sought out to help us grow our businesses. We're going to bring them in. And then we're going to get into systems and processes, ways to increase your ROI. Like it's so important that you not only know what button to push, but how to push it, how often, and if you should even be the one doing that.
Yep.
Right. And I think that's key. And then we're going to close out the year in a very cool way. And we're not going to break the secrets on that. And then January, we've already got January of next year dialed in for Sales 101. And then we'll get into a mental reset and a mindset check-in. And guys, that's the next 12 months.
It's incredible to be able to truly, this was taxing to really force ourselves to sit down and go, what is the average LO? Like, what is the average real? And I don't mean average by production, but just like, what is that person? Like, what are they struggling with in March? What are they struggling with in July? Like, what have they just come out of and are now going into? And how can we come alongside them and serve them with their greatest needs? And so it took a lot of energy to create this roadmap. And man, I just can't wait to do this alongside you guys and see it play out in our people's lives, because it's done too intentionally for it not to.
100%. Well, we weren't going to leave this call, this session, without getting into some meat and potatoes, some of that blocking and tackling and the tactics. And Landon, you brought up a great question that we all were chewing on before this call. And I'd love to just get into that with the crew.
Sure. Yeah. The question is, what is the one thing such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or completely unnecessary? So what is the one thing that by doing it, everything else in life becomes easier, becomes unnecessary, don't need to touch it, don't need to worry about it? What is that one thing?
You know, Kyle, you recently had a reel that I saw, and you were telling people, I think you were speaking to a group of realtors and loan officers, and you were telling everybody, stop selling, stop pitching your wares and your everything else, because it just doesn't work. And over the last few months, like I've just gotten, I mean, I post about working out a lot. My kids, I had something today just about a little mindset that I posted, a little reel that I recorded in my truck on the way to work, and, had the captions that, put everything on. And so when I've just gotten out to be myself, like I'm looking for more realtor connections. And so yesterday evening, a realtor was commenting about rucking. And I commented, we had a conversation back and forth, but then another agent saw that I was commenting on his stuff and reached out, because I mentioned I have a vest and I have a rucksack and depending. So like we're going to grab coffee and he's going to try out, my
You're going to try each other's vests on?
Yeah. Well, he's going to try mine on. Yeah. And then so today with that post I made this morning, just a little bit about mindset, I had somebody else reach out. And so like the more, like for me, my thing that it's about being myself to connect with realtors more, because then I get to pick the ones off that I want to work with that we have like things in common.
Yeah. So Sean, everything you just said, that would be my answer to this question, which is that lead generation aspect. And there's so many different ways to do it. And in Marketing Church, Shane and I are going to unpack all the different ways over the course of the year. But what it comes down to is like, we can find people in one of two ways. We can design an avatar of people we want to go after, or we can just choose to be our most authentic selves more often on the internet, realizing that realtors like me, realtors like you, are going to be naturally attracted to what we are. But most of us keep that hidden and we wait for coffee before we let that out. And so what you're experiencing is, if people would just live their lives on the internet a little bit more often, right? You talk about F3 and your workout routine, and that's going to be attractive to people. And you're running a mile every week with your boys and creating that narrative, right? And so really like fat realtors like me, like they're going to probably not be super interested in what you do and have no desire to be your friend. But that's kind of the point, right? Is looking for that common ground. When we post about daddy-daughter dance, right? Which we three of us have done that. It brings up opportunity and conversation that we just don't get with people any other way. So it's huge, bro. And I personally love watching you do it, because it's still so misunderstood and not leveraged. And so to me, that would be my one thing.
Do you want to focus on becoming a magnet versus having to be somebody who has to throw that fishing line in the water all the time, right? And I love what you guys said. I'm going to take it in a totally different direction.
Come on.
Yeah. And we even said offline, we're like, it's all about generating leads, growing your business. Honestly, for me, it actually isn't. As I was thinking about this, for me, I find that when I do less things, I do those less things at a way higher level. And the impact from doing less things at a higher level is greater than the sum of all the things I had done before. And so the number one thing for me is actually, whether it's daily or weekly, doing an exercise that I learned from a book called Run Like Clockwork. It's the trim, transfer, and trash time management kind of philosophy or exercise. Because what I know about myself, I'm a guy who, like, I can convince myself to do anything. I can write a story in advance of how great that, like, way up in that mountain, that little hole there is going to be a mine filled with gold. And I'll push myself up that hill just to find that there's no cave, there's no gold. And I was super excited about it. Right. And so I have to be way more disciplined with where I give myself agency to spend my time. And so this trim, transfer, trash method, for anyone who hasn't heard about it, it's what are the things that you're currently doing or that are currently occupying time in your head? What are the things that you should be passing off to somebody else through transferring? What are the things that you should be doing less of or more efficiently? Right? Like, are you on Facebook 2 hours a day when in reality, you could get all the engagement you need to in 15 minutes? Are you doing it on your phone where maybe you should be doing it on your computer? How do you trim your actions down so you have more time for the F3 or the daddy-daughter dates, the things that actually matter to you in your life, the reasons, the outcomes that you want to achieve by working as hard as you work? And then last is those things that you trash. It's the things that just absolutely don't serve you well for your overall goal, right? Like for me, like I know that when I get tired at the end of the week, my drug of choice is streaming on Netflix, right? And I'm not like crazy. I'm not watching 8 hours of Netflix. I might watch an hour, hour and a half at the end of the day. But like I thought last week, I said, man, what could I do with that hour of time back every day, 5 hours a week? 5 hours a week, like strategically use, even if it's working out, cold therapy, saunas, reading scripture, literally just praying for my daughter, or whatever, or every day could be something different. I know that time could be better used. So for me, that leads to lead generation. That leads to showing up more authentically online. That leads to engaging more proactively on social media. It leads to everything. But I need to make sure that my time, the way I operate is intentional all day, every day.
It's good.
Landon, close us out, bro. What do you got? You asked the question, so now you got to answer it.
Yeah. So my philosophy is an inch wide and a mile deep. I mean, I am a huge fan of not spreading myself too thin, but what I actually mean with that philosophy there is that Shane mentioned lead generation. Kyle mentioned lead generation. You mentioned kind of not really a means to an end, but if those things are taken care of, all of the other things happen. And one of those that you mentioned was lead generation. And so the way that we're growing Post Oak Realty, the way that I am growing Post Oak Realty specifically, is focusing an inch wide and a mile deep. I'm not trying to connect with every single agent in DFW. I don't know the last time I made an outbound call. So that mile deep happens right here within these walls. It happens on the phone with agents that are already at this office, through classes, through training, checking in with people. I'm focusing, and we as a unit here are focusing so deeply on being invested with our people here that they go and tell their friends and say, hey, you got to come check this out. Like, I know you said it's rough where you are. Like, just come listen. Just come see what's over here. So that would be my approach. That would be my one thing, is to make sure that I'm showing up every single day here, present and engaged, ready to serve. And really, I mean, ironically enough, that's a great way to wrap up this call, is that Sean, Shane, Kyle, for myself, I can speak for myself too. Like, we are excited to show up. We are excited to be involved. We are present. We are engaged. We answer the phone. We answer emails. Like, we want to help serve and make your life easier, whether that is through concepts, tactics, tricks, shortcuts, whatever that might be. We are here for you. This community is here for you. And that's the beautiful thing too. It doesn't stop with just the four of us. So we would love to see you guys in Next Level Community. And we look forward to seeing you throughout the rest of this week, as we will be delivering all of this content live to you.
That's right. So wherever you're seeing this, you will see everything we talked about. Marketing Church, Next Level Live, the real estate class that I just butchered the name of, that Landon and Sean are doing, as well as our happy hour on Friday afternoon. And so, guys, we would love the honor to serve you through Next Level. You see the becomenl.com down at the bottom if you want to come join us. And at some point this week, we will see you all back on the internet. See you guys.